Okay, we're here talking to authors Cabot Barden and John T. Wayne. John is the grandson of legendary actor uh, John Wayne, better known as the Duke. We're at the Tuckabachie Native American Powwow in Tallahassee, Alabama. It's October the 23rd, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, let's start with you, John. You can tell I'm a little nervous.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself.
Mhm.
Well, I used to be real little.
And now you're.
Actually, I was never really little. I was a fairly big baby and grew up big, and although I was the biggest of three boys, I got picked on a lot because I was really skinny and small when I was young. But as I grew up, I joined the Marine Corps, and they put a little meat on my bones.
And a little muscle.
Yeah, a little meat and a little muscle, and after that, my brothers were just a little scared to get too close to me.
So it was payback time then.
Well,
huh?
yeah, but I don't have that kind of a heart. I wasn't worried about anything like that. I know what boys do when they grow up.
So you're just a little bit bigger now than you were. Like what, 6'4"? Is that right?
I'm 6'4", a little over 300 pounds. I guess I carry it all right, except every once in a while I have a limp. I've got a hitch in my giddy at this age.
Okay, you've been married to your wife Donna for how many years?
Well, almost 30 years.
And you have how many children?
We've got 3 sons
Grandchildren?
and 7 grandchildren.
Wow, big family
Yeah.
there. How long have you been writing?
Well, I started writing 31 years ago. I was attending the University of Oregon because I wanted to be a writer. I was studying writing at the university, and I lost my daughter to cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. When that happened, I really dove into the writing just to keep from losing my mind more than anything. And after about 6 months, I thought, well, if I'm going to be writing this much, I might as well write a book. And so I started working on a book called The Life of a Dead Man, but it became The Treasure del Diablo, which we published in 2012.
So you want to tell us a little bit what you like to write about? What are your favorite genres?
My forte is writing about the orphans created by the Civil War, because in 150 years nobody wrote anything about the orphan problem. The Civil War, if you go back and look at all the books that have been written about it, which is over 62,000, nobody's mentioned the orphan problem. We had a huge orphan problem because the orphans from the Civil War became the cowboys. It seems to be something that we've overlooked in our history books. Once the Civil War got up at full head of steam, the ranchers out west could not hire a grown man. They all went to go fight the war. So they started bringing in the orphans off the streets of St. Louis or New Orleans or Chicago, New York, wherever they could get them.
Mm-hmm.
They brought them out to the ranches. They didn't know nothing about a cow. Okay? But the ranchers took them on. It gave them a job. It gave them a bunkhouse, a place to lay their head and at night, and it gave them, some responsibility. But they were considered lowlifes, and they were called cowboys. The term was derogatory originally. It just meant you were the lowest of the low. You didn't have a family, you didn't have a home, you didn't have nothing. But over time, they became very respected because they learned their trade really good. They grew up around the cattle, and they became very good at what they did. And it wasn't long before the ranchers themselves were being called cowboys.
Do you have, you want to tell us the title of your books or show some of them or something?
The series that I write is called The Gaslight Boys because of all the children that had to grow up on the streets under the gas lights. The first book I released was called Catfish John, The Anatomy of a Bottom Dweller. The second book was The Treasure del Diablo. Then I released Old Slant Face. Then a book called Blood Once Spilled, which we're redoing through my current publisher, which is Mockingbird Lane Press. And then I'll also release Captain Grimes Unreconstructed and a book called Showdown at Scatter Creek about 2 months ago. We're going to be releasing 2-3 books a year for the next 5 years.
Do you have any other events coming up in the next few months, or
Well, I
that
do.
you'd like to talk about?
Well, next weekend I'll be in Texarkana, Arkansas. There's a benefit for St. Jude's down there that they do every year. It's called the Fall Gathering of Authors. We'll be down there. There should be about 40 or 45 authors in one room down there. And then I have an event right after that coming right back here to Tallahassee, and we'll be doing a Civil War reenactment right here on this ground in 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then I'll be in Springfield, Missouri, signing books right across the street from Bass Pro Shops.
So you have a web page?
I do. It's just johntwayne.com.
And you're also on Facebook, is that right?
Right. It's the same thing on Facebook, but you add the word author to it, John T. Wayne Author, and you can like me on Facebook. Right now, through the month of November, I'm going to be taking all the names of people that like me on Facebook, and I'll be giving away 4 books. I'll be giving away 4 books in December, and I'll also be giving away a very personal item with those 4 books to the winner. But you have to like my Facebook page, John T. Wayne Author, to qualify.
Okay, and do you put on the Facebook page and on your website where you will be appearing at?
I do.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's I try to keep it about 6 weeks ahead so that folks can plan and see where I'm going to be at, and if they want to come and attend and pick up a signed copy of one of my books, they'd be able to.
And you have T-shirts and wooden plaques and coffee cups and other items too.
Right.
As I said, John Wayne, the actor, was your grandfather. Have you any plans to do any acting yourself?
I do. As a matter of fact, I've got a book called Peace in the Valley that'll be released this next year, hopefully. And in that book, there's an angel, and I think you couldn't get a better angel than John Wayne. I don't know if they'll let me play the part or not.
Let you play the part.
But I would love to do it.
Well, you'd be perfect since you look so much like your grandfather.
Well, the other part is that the angel doesn't say anything till the very end of the book. So it's not like I have a lot of speaking parts. All I have to do is sit a horse and ride by the jailhouse and do a few things like that. But it's a very interesting book, and actually Showdown at Scatter Creek, the book I just released, sets up Peace in the Valley.
That's great. That's great. Everybody needs to look up on your web page and your Facebook page and see what you're doing, and come on out and get a signed copy of one of your books, or more than one of your books.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to go to my favorite author.
I wonder why.
Now wait a minute.
This is my favorite author, also my husband, Cabot Barden.
You're not prejudiced, are you?
No, I'm not a bit prejudiced at all. You can pay me later. Okay, Cabot, tell us a little bit about yourself, other than you have a marvelous wife.
Yeah, I do. I've written 7 books. My first career about musicians, of course, because I was a musician from the age of 14 up till, played in bands up till about 3 years ago and retired and played in clubs because it's going nowhere these days. No money to be made in clubs. Make money in the music business now, the only 2 places you really make money is either the casinos or the cruise ships. Outside of that, you make $50 a night, all your $2,000 worth of equipment and a $500 car, go play a $50 gig.
Well, tell us how you got into writing.
Well, my favorite author is Clive Cussler. I met him in 1989, and in '86, I read the book Raise the Titanic, and it kind of got me inspired. I said, well, I can write stuff, maybe. Then in '89, I met Clive, and he said, write what you know. He said, don't try to imitate somebody else, be who you are. So, I started writing my first book, put it down for about 10 years, and about 96 I wrote a little more. Then in 2009 I was unemployed and said, well, I'll finish my book, I got nothing else to do. So I finished it and went and got a publisher. 5 years in a row I've been writing books. Finally, first time I've taken a break in I don't know how long.
Okay, tell about what your books are about.
First three are about musicians, of course, and the fourth one is about the Civil War. It's about my ancestors who came over here from Ireland in 1836 and ended up being indentured servants on a plantation in South Georgia, same as slaves. And but fortunately for them, they had a good guy who was their plantation owner. He set them free during the Civil War. And fifth one takes up where the fourth one left off, where my grandfather, he fought with Teddy Roosevelt in the Spanish-American War. And then he became a deputy sheriff in Fitzgerald, Georgia. And it tells about when he was deputy sheriff, some of the mysteries that happened there. One of the deputies disappeared, nobody ever knew what happened to him. It's based on a true story there.
For the last two books, or I'm sorry, are you through?
No, book number 6 is about Chenaby, who was a real person in Talladega back in the Creek Indian Wars. He saved Fort Leslie from being destroyed by Red Eagle and his 1,000 braves. Red Eagle was actually related to Chalaka's father by marriage, and so he told Chief Chenaby that he would give him 3 days or they'd destroy the fort, turn over the fort. So Chalaka snuck out that night and went up to Ohatchee and got Andrew Jackson and Davy Crockett and 2,000 soldiers, brought them back down there, and they had a battle at Talladega, which lasted about 45 minutes. Killed about 300 or 400 Indians and 15 soldiers. And, they left after the battle. Left Indians' bodies laying out on the field there for over 100 years. The Daughters of the American Revolution finally picked up all the bones and buried them in a common grave. And then it tells the story after the Creek Indian Wars, where Chalaka became an agent for Andrew Jackson, trying to find out who it was that was trying to take all the land down in southeastern Alabama from Indians, which was Indian territory at that time. And his best friend was Jim Fife, which sets up my 7th book, the story of Jim Fife after Chalaka was killed. Chalaka did not get a scratch on him during the Creek Indian Wars, but he was riding home from a tavern up there in Martisville, which was the county seat for Talladega County at that time, and he was drunk, leaning off his horse, and he hit a tree and killed him. So anyways, my 7th book picks up where that one left off, with the story of Jim Fife, where he goes off and everybody thinks he's dead, along with Chalaka. And so he finds out that Chalaka's family has been sent out on the Trail of Tears out to Arkansas. So Jim Fife goes out there and brings them back, and they come back and live under a white man's name and hide out in Talladega County.
Okay, the 6th book, I Will War No More, is being made into a play. Is that right? It's in the hands of a playwright right now.
Yeah, we got a lady that's doing the playwright on it right now.
The Talladega Ritz Theater wants to promote this and put this play on. John, maybe you could come introduce the play, and y'all could have a book signing afterwards. We'll see. We'll see what that would
be a great
thing. And they have a book signing together after the play. It should be put on.
Each time they have something at the Ritz.
So, what are the titles of your books, Cabot?
My very first one that I wrote was It's the Bass Player, because I was a bass player. The second one is Toby's Mixed Blessings, because my main character in the first 3 books is Toby Martin, based on me. And the third book is Dynamite Runs in the Family, which was my mom's favorite saying. She was like 4'11", and she said dynamite comes in small packages, so that's where that title came from. My 5th book is Shamrocks and Scallywags. And the 6th book is Shillelaghs and Scoundrels. That's a mouthful. And 6th one is I Will War No More, which is the story of Chalaka. and the seventh one is, of course, the ghost walking.
Okay. Is there anything that y'all want to add, either one of you?
Well, I don't know that there's anything I'd like to add except that you know, it's difficult being a writer in today's environment, but I know that the good writers are going to persevere and get through it all, and we'll have our day.
Yep.
Is there anything you'd like to?
Yep.
Anything you want to add, Cabot?
No, don't know of anything.
You don't want to once again tell the audience what a wonderful wife you have. Okay, that's I guess that's gonna be it. And y'all be sure to look up their. Oh, I forgot to ask Cabot about you have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
And also a web page.
Yeah.
And the web page is, okay, I guess I'll do that, CabotBardenAuthor.com. And you can just put in Cabot Barden on Facebook, and it'll call up his personal and his author page. And he has several videos on YouTube because, as he said, he's also a songwriter and a performer. So you can just look up Cabot Barden on YouTube and find all his videos, which also includes several advertisements for his books. John, do you have anything on YouTube right now?
I do. I've put several videos up in the last week, but they describe each book.
Okay.
I've done 3 of them. I'm going to be doing one on every book here when I get back to the house. And by this time next week, they'll all be up, and we'll have several videos on YouTube.
So everybody look up these guys on YouTube,
And
Facebook.
John is in a couple of my videos.
Yeah, he is. John T. Wayne appears in some of Cabot's videos. But
These
look,
two old fellows right here, we may not be a whole lot, but we can both write a good story, and I think that's what America needs right now. We need some good storytellers, and folks that aren't afraid to get out there and uncover the truth of the past, and write some things that just have been buried by time.
Yeah.
And that's what we've both done. We've written stories that are buried by time, and you know, the truth was never told. And I think it's time the American people found out some of the truth.
Yep.
So
That's
y'all,
what these books all do.
y'all get off those computers, get out from in front of that TV, quit those video games, get off that texting on that phone, and read a good book. And like I said, both of these guys are on YouTube, Facebook, and have web pages.
And we
Y'all-
have Amazon.com and eKindle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Books through them.
absolutely.
So y'all be looking them up, and over and out.